One of you to pass over my gavel behind you on the thing there. You'd be surprised, you do occasionally need it. The wig, yeah. Okay, can you let me know when it's recording?
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mumbles Community Council, 19th of May, 2026. Very first, start with apologies for absence, please.
Yes, Councillor Helen Nelson, Councillor Trevor Carr, and I haven't received any others.
Okay, thank you very much. And moving on to any declarations of interest. Okay, Rebecca's first, very quick, I would say.
As always, I declare a personal interest in any items relating to Swansea Council, being also the Swansea Council, and an additional prejudicial interest in items relating to Underhill, as it's likely that they'll be cabinet decisions.
Thank you. And Laura?
The athletic grant application, declaring an interest as a member of the organising committee of that festival.
Okay, so that would be prejudicial interest, probably have to leave the room at that moment, yeah? Okay. And myself as Swansea City Councillor, anything related to the agenda that relates to that? Okay.
Sarah.
Sorry, Sarah, carry on.
Apologies for Zanti Keaton.
Okay, thanks. Noted that. No, item 3 is public participation. These public participation has to be identified 3 days before the meeting, and it has to be on items related to the agenda. Don't see any people in the room, and Kerry, we haven't had any requests. No. Okay, so
Sorry, Chair, the only request I've received is agenda is your next item down.
okay, that's great. Okay, moving swiftly on to that then, is to receive a presentation from Mumbles Petanque Club. So thank you very much for coming, firstly. It's really nice to see you all here in your full kit. Obviously, we've got something on the agenda straight after, but I think it's really useful you've come in so that you can explain what the club is, how inclusive it is, a little bit about your membership, what you're hoping to achieve, and over to you, really.
I'll start then. My name is Tracy Anstey. I'm the chair of Mumbles Petanque Club. Let me introduce everyone. This is Ross Elliott, and he's our secretary. We've got new committee member, Jenny Rainbow, old committee member, Amanda Evans, and Jane Dunn, who is not on our committee because she's so busy representing Wales playing the game of petanque. And she's I think an international sports person in the room. But the main reason why we asked to come this evening, because we know we're on the threshold of receiving our money, and so we thought it would be the right thing to do for us to come and present ourselves and say a very big thank you for supporting us in trying to get the club going. So I'm not going to speak too much. I'm going to pass it to Ross because he's going to explain how we got the club going.
Well, hi everyone, I'm Ross, as Tracy said. If you'd have said to me 5 years ago I'd be the secretary of a petanque club, I'd have asked what's petanque, and no, I won't. But here I am speaking to you all today. We started as a group of informal players, most of us who'd never heard of the game before, I think it would be safe to say, brought together by Jane when she came back to Mumbles with her keen interest in petanque. Word of mouth quickly spread through friends of friends, and before I know it, through a friend of a friend, me and my girlfriend were invited, and we started playing. This was about March time in 2024. By the time that it had reached spring or summer, we'd reached around about 20 informal chuckers at that point. We started entering a few open competitions at some of the clubs in Cardiff, rather enjoyed ourselves, carried on playing throughout winter, and then realised, oh, we quite like this, and this is probably going to stick as the club grew and grew. So at that point, we decided to have an informal sort of pre-general meeting, didn't we? And assign ourselves as a chair, a secretary, and a treasurer, and work about how we should formalise the game and the club. We looked around for other clubs in Swansea. To our horror, there were none. Cardiff has about 7, 8 or 9, I think, if that's of any interest. I think Jane will speak on that a bit later. So we decided, well, let's make our own then, and that is what we have done. So we are an officially registered club with the Welsh Petanque Association and have been since January 2025. We continue to grow our club within Mumbles and are doing many things to do that. We've had fundraising events with local businesses such as Waterloo Stores, Knock Knock Thai Restaurant, and we support all of the businesses that are in and around Southend Gardens that that walk by and give a lot of enjoyment to the passers-by who watch and play on Saturday and take great delight in our whoops and shouts and so forth. What I think is really important and I'd like to touch on is that Petanque is a sport that is not very well known, but is extremely accessible, extremely inclusive, and extremely community driven. And that has been shown by my own experience as someone who is, you can probably tell from my accent, not from the Mumbles or Wales and relatively new, and having come into a small group and made many friends and had lots of great social events and then been able to be part of something, and also being a member of Swansea Tennis and Squash Club. I played plenty 2 years ago. I've seen the impact that sports clubs have on the community and how important that is. So I think what I would like to say, my message is, we are a fledgling club. We're doing the right thing on the right path. We're really grateful for the community and the council support on getting behind us and improving our facilities, because our main goal is to grow the club, keep Petanque alive as a sport, pass that legacy on for generations, as the clubs in Cardiff have been doing for many years, and to really grow as a community-driven club. So thank you all for listening to my TED talk, and I'll pass you on now to Jane to talk a little bit more about our involvement.
So whilst Petanque isn't that well known in this area, you might be surprised to find out that the largest league in the UK is based in the Mount Valleys. There are 43 teams situated between the north of Newport and up as far as Abergavenny. They range from small clubs that are associated with existing social clubs linked to rugby clubs, pubs, a whole range of groups, some in a golf club. So it's whilst individual clubs may not be that huge, as a spread we've got quite a representation in South Wales. The challenge for me as a keen player is I travel to Caerleon, which is quite a journey, and every time I go to a club, every time I go to a competition, people are saying, "Oh, you've come all the way from the Mumbles. Why are you doing?" I said, "Well, there's no clubs down my way except for the Mumbles." And what I've been tasked by the Welsh Petanque Association to do is not just help grow the Mumbles Club, but to grow Petanque in Swansea. So I was meeting with their health and wellbeing team this morning from the council and talking to them about running sessions through the summer in the what's called the Collab Centre, just opposite the leisure centre. I've been running sessions up in Dunlop Park, and the vision for the Welsh Petanque Association is within 2 years to have 250 people regularly playing in Swansea, to have 5 clubs within 3 years, and within 5 years to be in a position to bid for the large-scale international competition. Well, large-scale for Petanque. It's not the World Cup, but there's the Celtic Challenge, which involves 3 countries. There's the home nations, 4 countries, and even we've spoken to people who run the big England regional competition there, because Wales takes part in that as a region. They've said, well, we could always hold it in Wales, and that's 700 plus players, plus their friends and family. And what we can do in Mumbles, it's, as Ross was saying, it's a really inclusive sport. The team that represented Wales in the European club competition 2 years ago, the youngest player was 10 and the eldest was 75. And they were all there on merit. And they weren't there because you needed to have a 10-year-old and you needed to have a 75-year-old. was every decade except 20s were represented in that team. And I think that makes it a unique sport. And what I would like to see us develop here, things like what I've been thinking of is the generation game. So you can play as triples, doubles, or singles. But as triples, you can have children, parents, grandparents, and it doesn't have to be the whole family, but that age range. And I really think that, you know, as a sport, as Ross said, it's very inclusive. I think if you spoke to the majority of people who regularly turn up on a Saturday morning, most of those people want to play sport regularly since they were at school. I started playing it because I played team sport all my life, then stopped in my 40s and thought, oh, this is ridiculous. I miss it. So if you've played a team sport and gone away from it, there's that whole thing about you know, sort of having that opportunity to play it again, even though, you know, I'm not running around a rugby pitch or a hockey pitch or whatever. It's that you get that buzz from it. And then for other people, it's a very sociable thing. I've set up a little set of videos that people can have a look at. I interview people in club in Cardiff. And there's Betty is lovely. She started the sport at 88. She's still playing now. And she's chatting on the screen. She's going, can I tell them about my macula? She said, I had to stop bowls because I've got macula. She said, oh, I can see this. Right. And she turns up, plays twice a week. And there are 40 people twice a week there. And it's as much as important for the chat and the tea and the coffee in the break as it is to get up, be outside.
Yeah.
And there's one guy in there who I've interviewed, and he goes, well, he said it gets you out the door. And, you know, we know from research it's really important to have those connections, especially as you get older, but even better that you can make connections that you can then share with your grandchildren or your children. So that's our vision for Mumbles, to build on what we've done already and bring that and hopefully other people to the Mumbles.
Yeah.
Fantastic, and you know, well done to all the hard work you put in. It's obviously, you know, paying off, and it's great. Just open up questions, yes, Richard. Sorry, you had mentioned.
Well done for representing the country.
Yeah.
So you're officially Swansea's oldest petanque club.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, good way of advertising it.
Yeah.
Are you online?
We are fully established. So we are www.mumblespetonclub.co.uk. So you can find information there. We have, you know, full proper email addresses. We have a social media presence that we're trying to build up on Instagram. Our current sort of focus as a committee is driving the membership. So Jane is working really hard to arrange taster sessions for new players. You know, we've got flyers that we want to put in the local businesses that we regularly support and visit. Trams, for example, who sponsored one of our competitions, gave a few free breakfasts away, didn't they? Yeah. Which we put enough money into them, so that was only fair, wasn't it? You know, and Foam, you know, all those businesses around their seafood hut. So, you know, they all know us and love us. So yeah, you know, we're online, fully established, and as I say, we're with the right governing body.
Yeah. No doubt that. I've seen you there. What days and times do you train?
We do on a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And that is a regular thing all the way through the winter, even with bitter cold. So now it's coming into our best time. And during the summer months, especially once the clocks have changed, we do have a session sometimes on a Tuesday or a Thursday. What we do is we've got a WhatsApp group. Someone puts up a poll and says who fancies coming. You can do it with 2 players, 4 players, 10 players, you know, any number. And then what we're doing as well is well, a couple of times in the summer, we go down to Caswell when the tide's out at 6 o'clock in the evening, put out a pitch, take a picnic and play there.
Okay.
And also just to add on to that, no experience, money or equipment is needed at all to join us. So anyone can come down. No, you know, you don't have to pay a fee. You don't have to know anything about the game. So basically what I'm saying is I'd like to see you all there once. These do cost money. Yeah. But honestly, if you want to know, because a lot of you said never heard of petanque, what's it like? Just come and go. It's really good fun, I can tell you. Yeah.
In addition, we've just started to help set up a U3A photography group that happens on a Thursday afternoon. There were over 80 people who wanted to sign up to that. So I'm trying to get another one going in Dunvant, and hopefully we can try and get another one going in the Mumbles on another day of the week. Because once you've got people playing, they know the basics. It's, you know, it doesn't take a lot to keep it going. A WhatsApp group, they say, and that's it done.
Thank you.
You just bringing in Ian and then Carrie next.
Thank you, Chair. Welcome, and thank you very much for coming along. My question really, have you had agreement with yourselves, possibly with City, about the location of these pistes?
We've had discussions, we've had many discussions. So we've moved to a position of having an agreement, and but where we are now is one of our members, Johnny, is an architect, and he has drawn up what we discussed with Francesca, Angela and Will, moving one of the pistes away from the cherry tree.
I've got that here, yeah.
And putting in one new piste. So, yeah. And also at the moment, our problem in terms of inviting other clubs from any other place, particularly Cardiff, is that our two current pistes aren't really up to club standard, are they?
Well,
So
one of them's under a tree, and unlike bowls, you don't throw it, well, you can do that, but you encourage people to throw up in the air. So.
Yeah, I have played quite a bit.
oh, yeah.
But do you see it impacting on the play area at all? Because it is a park in a way.
So that was the point. We met with David Price Deer, and we did compromise and say, because there's a great big open space and he uses it for marquee events, and we couldn't argue with the fact that you want to keep green space. So we're really talking about quite a tight corner.
Yeah.
You know, that corner.
Yeah, it's just that, you know, it's best to clarify it now, because I didn't know you had any space. And
And it's not fenced off and prohibited anyone using it as well.
Yeah, I think in fairness to the club, they approached Swansea Council last year and we waited for a long time to get a response, and it wasn't until about 4 or 5 weeks ago you actually had a negative response.
Yeah.
So we met up again, and then we managed to get a result pretty quickly, haven't we?
Yeah.
Because obviously the last time took so long. So we've got a quick response, bit of a compromise. They wanted 4 pistes. The council officers weren't happy with that because they thought it took up too much green space.
yeah,
So compromise with 3, and we can always see if it's really well supported and it's well played, then there's an argument in the future, isn't there, that we can maybe go back again and take it from there. But I think
We can get going and invite people and expand ourselves.
yeah, it's just, excuse me, the green space is at a premium.
Yeah,
Not only there, so that,
yeah.
you know, we have to look to the needs of other groups as well. But, okay.
Yeah.
just gonna bring Carrie in now and then Rob.
Yes, sorry about the baby noises in the background. He'll be off in a minute. Yeah, just to remind everyone, of course, Mumbles Twinning Association has been playing Petonk down at Southend Gardens for about 10 years now. So, you know, maybe we actually are the oldest club in Mumbles. So, you know, there is already another club playing there. We play on Sundays, and we can get anything from like 4 or 5 people in the winter to maybe sort of, you know, a dozen or more in the summer. And of course, when our visitors from Hennebont come, we always have our petanque competition between France and Wales. So yeah, it's not just one club, it's actually there's 2 groups already playing down there. And the same as Mumbles Petanque Club, we have the issue with the second pitch and the cherry tree and it being too dangerous to use. Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, thanks, Carrie. That sounds like a good local derby. I might come and watch that one. Okay, so Rob.
I think this is lovely. I think, you know, we have really catered for the well-being and sports and fitness of the youngsters in this area with Underhill, skate park and tennis. And I think it's, no offence, something lovely for the oldies. And especially, no, my dad's 90 and he would love something like this. You know, I think it's really great. I think it's lovely to see so many of you, or hear that there are so many of you doing this and you're set up extra ones. I love your hoodies. And I think, yes, let's make you the official Mumbles team, you know, the support and following that you've got with it. And I'm happy to, as I know most of my colleagues will know, I've been trying to resurrect the Bool competition, Mumbles, which is a great day. And hopefully, you know, you'd all be behind helping organise something like that as well.
I'd love to. That's right up the street, isn't it? Yeah.
Get the Twinning Association as well.
Yeah.
Get the Twinning Association team involved as well. So we've got a local derby going.
We've also, if there are any sort of fetes or events in the Mumbles area, we've got, so the WPA's got a temporary piste that you can just put in and play with indoor balls, and the council's bought one as well. So we could, you know, if there's a suitable space, bring those and make that part of the day as well and support
That'd be great, yeah, that'd be really good. We've actually got a potential wellbeing event happening soon, so maybe one of the staff could get in touch with you on that. So conscious we've got a long agenda, thank you. Don't go quite yet though, because we've got a vote next. So let's see who you're going to chase around the village. Oh, sorry, Sarah, you put your hand up late there. Do you want to come in quickly? Sorry.
Yeah, I was just wondering if the Bowls Club had a setup that they could bring to, say, parties in the parks for the children. That might be a fun thing for the kids to have a go at as well, because we'll be doing those throughout August. Maybe get younger people involved in Petonk.
Yeah. Good point, Sarah. A lot of the clubs in Cardiff do like school days where they invite local schools to be introduced to a new sport that, you know, not all kids want to play rugby or football and things like that. So they bring in them to show them that there's other options available that are, you know, easy to pick up, easy to play. And that's very popular. And that's something that we, and especially myself, would like to do in the future when we've got the right facilities, you know, and we've got trained coaches and stuff like that, you know, so we'd be really interested to do that and integrate with the community as much as possible.
That's great. Well, we've got your contact details, I imagine, through Kerry. So the staff who are doing the family fun days, maybe we could look into that, and the potential event that we're discussing later and some other things that would that'd be great. So thanks very much. Okay, so moving on to item number 5. Which is to approve and release £6,000 to for reinstatement of the pistes at Southend to Mumbles Petonk Club. All those in favour? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you. Oh, any abstentions? Sorry, I didn't see Pam's hand. Or any against? Sorry, Pam, I didn't see that. Thank you. That's great. Okie doke. There we are, guys. You're welcome to stay. Your hoodies to the camera on the way out, though, just for prosperity.
Sort of like over this way, so you have to. Did yeah.
Thank you very much.
The secretary.
Okay, we'll just wait for you guys.
And then the website's just www. Thanks a lot. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. To item number 6, let me start again. To approve the twinning budget for 26-27 is released to contribute to the programme of this year's visit from twinning partners from Hennebont, which is in June. MCC Days programme will take place on Friday, the 12th of June, and will include a focus on local projects that showcase sustainability and natural environment. Catering will be provided for lunch and dinner, as well as a small memento of the visit for our guests from Hennebont. Is there any questions on that, Rebecca?
Can I just speak to it?
Yeah, certainly, yeah.
So we have already got a line in our approved budget of up to £1,000 for twinning this year. But basically definitely the main activity of the year will be this visit from Hennebont, which is taking place in June. So hopefully everybody remembers that whenever we receive a visit, the Community Council as a kind of key partner of twinning organises and delivers a day in the programme. We're obviously now many years into the Twinning Association with Hennebont, so we've been trying to think a bit more creatively about what that day might involve, and we just think that there's so much going on from the Community Council's perspective in terms of promoting sustainability and opportunities to showcase some of the work that we've done here. So twinning traditionally is about cultural exchange, but it's also about how we can learn about our economic development, about our education systems, lots of other things as well. So I wanted to put more detail in the proposal so you know exactly what the programme would involve. We've had a bit of an issue with some of our ideas, the quotes coming back not being exactly clear, etc. So I just wanted to kind of give it enough flexibility that the subgroup can go away and actually kind of dot all the I's now. But the ideas that we've considered, for example, would be a visit down to Earth. Obviously, they ran our off-stream project. So, you know, looking at projects and companies and organisations in the Mumbles area or have a connection to the Mumbles area that just, showcase some of the amazing work that's going on here.
Yeah, great. I think it's important to keep that link going. It takes a lot of effort from a few of you, so thank you for that. Is there any other questions or points before we move to a vote on that?
Could we just clarify what the sum of money was last year?
I don't think it's changed in a good number of years.
So
£1,000, yeah.
Okay. So all those in favour of approving item 6? Thank you, that's unanimous. Okay. Moving on to item 7, to approve the minutes held in the meeting of the 10th of March. So you've got those in your packs.
See that?
Have a look at mine. Just give everyone a minute to breeze over those. Are you in there? I'll give them back then. Okay. All right, so I'll just give Rebecca, because you've done a chance to look at them in her packs, just give her 30 seconds, okay? Right, all those in favour of approving the minutes from the 10th of March? Okay, any abstentions? Okay, abstain, yeah, and Phil's abstention as well, okay, and any against? No, okay, thank you. Item number 8, to approve the minutes held at the meeting held on the 23rd of March. Again, didn't have those either.
No, they're not in the folder.
Okay, if these aren't in the folder, there's a couple of people not got them, we'll push them on to the next agenda. Kerry, if you
it was a special meeting.
If you don't mind. So that's just to recap, that's the 23rd of March. If we can put those in the next agenda, we'll go over those at a different time. Okay, moving on to the chair's report. We had a meeting last week where I gave a sort of background of the year, so I haven't written another report. However, I haven't written anything, but I would like to just talk about an incident that seems to have happened over the weekend. A hate crime, sort of racial aggravated a hate crime, I suppose, which was reported on social media. I've never heard of anything like this happening before. I've lived here for my entire life, and it's quite upsetting to read. And my thoughts firstly go out to the victim, and it's not nice to be part of that. And obviously, I think everyone would agree in this council, and everyone I know personally in the whole community would agree that this community especially, and anywhere in the whole of the UK or Wales, there's no place for racism, and I think we'll all agree on that. I have spoken to the victim, I have reached out, and also spoken to local police. So I don't particularly want to go into any more detail in case it does escalate into a police matter. But I did just want to put on record that, I think that if anything, it shows that you see the comments on Facebook, it shows how appalled the whole community is by opinions like that. Pam, would you like to come in?
Yes, just before this, I'm sorry, I can hear myself coming back. I brought up within one of our meetings that I'm a governor at Whitestone School, and the head there had been on a training course specifically to do with racism, and she said she learned a lot. And I think I spoke at that meeting and said I think it would try and arrange for every councillor here to have access to that training if we could. I haven't quite heard back yet. So as soon as I've heard that, I'll pass the details on to you and the clerk, and perhaps we could arrange for that. And it might help with the way that we speak to people. I don't know, but perhaps we need to improve our training and show the community that we are up for this and we're very much concerned about it.
Rebecca?
Yeah, thanks. Likewise, just want to express, the horror of reading that report. I was sort of simultaneously incensed and really saddened because it absolutely has no place in our community. I've reached out to the community cohesion team at Swansea Council just to make sure that they were aware and to ask basically what support they would be able to offer in terms of a response. I think they'd certainly be open to looking at a community event that really demonstrates we have a zero tolerance approach to racism and we really celebrate the diversity of our community. So that's something that I'd like to suggest that as a community council we progress. I also really wanted to welcome the statement from the chief officer on social media. Unfortunately, I'm not able to see the original report or any of the comments on Facebook, so I'm only going off of that response. But I think it was very measured and drew attention as well to the Flip the Streets event on the 31st of May, which I hope will be really well attended and a really positive and constructive event. I think you can't take anything for granted. We've only got to keep moving forward in terms of furthering equality and inclusion for all. So, as I say, I would like to propose that Mumbles Community Council do reach out to the community cohesion team at Swansea Council and look at doing some sort of partnership event to celebrate our diverse communities.
That's great. I'm sure. I don't think anyone would disagree with that, and I'm sure if you could just help Kerry with that, and then we can discuss it in the future, I'm sure. Angela.
Yeah, only just agreeing basically with what Rebecca just said, and echoing what you said. Well, I've lived here all my life. It saddens me that these, events even happen. And I don't know anybody who actually would think that this would ever be acceptable or okay. So thank you.
Thanks, Ash. Martin?
Yeah, I'd just like to echo what Rebecca said. I think it'd be very useful that we did a community event to, just highlight the issues, not highlight the particular incident, but highlight tolerance and acceptance. And I was just thinking it might be an idea to do something around the skateboard park, to be honest.
Yeah.
Sort of base, because that would be a nice sort of venue, really.
Yeah.
That's what I was just going to suggest.
Okay, thanks, Mark. I think if Rebecca sends that to Kerry, then we'll maybe ask Kat or someone to have a think about what's best, and you can all feed in.
Let's accentuate the positive.
Yes, no, exactly. That's true. Rob was next, sorry,
Okay,
and then
sure.
yeah, Rob.
Absolutely, wholeheartedly agree with everything I've heard today. Racism is not acceptable, and neither is bullying. And it seems that not everybody on this council feels that all of the councillors here feel the same way about bullying. to quote from a post on Facebook that appeared yesterday. Certain local councillors are perfectly happy to condone and support racism. The majority of the Labour councillors are absolutely appalled by this behaviour. I would say that every single councillor here is appalled by this behaviour. And I would like Councillor Carrie Townsend-Jones to name who she thinks is not against racism, as she seems to have insinuated that.
I think what I don't want to get into is a sort of slagging match in
No, quite fine, but I'd like it limited and answered.
I think there's routes for you to go down if you want to do that. I don't think this is the right platform to do that. So I think if you do want to discuss with the chief officer, and then there's obviously an ombudsman if you feel that you haven't had your the result that you want there. But there are probably some better routes to do that, I feel. Ian, do you want to come in?
Yes, please, Chair. I had a meeting recently at the skate park with Councillor Helen Nelson and a local resident. And we previously discussed the business of the hedging. And I would like to ask the chief officer if there's any progress as to when that work will be carried out. And in addition to that, the graffiti that is now in the skate park is unbelievable. It's as bad as what it ever was, and that costs us over £2,000 to have something done about it. Where do we draw the line? We've been talking about an incident which sadly there'll be a correlation with the skate park and what was said by certain individuals. And of course, it's making the area a sort of an offensive area. Seeing the graffiti there makes it offensive. We have got the project with Flip the Streets, and I commend Carrie for making note of that online. And that's on the 30th of May. Hopefully that might get those that use the skate park to be more aware of what they can and what they can't do down there, because the whole area is just being totally abused. It's shocking.
Thanks, Ian. I think we can maybe come on to the maintenance of the area later, and maybe in the agenda, or maybe the chief officer could just take away those notes and come back and reply to you via email. Pam, I will let you come back in, but as I said to Rob, and as I cut him off, I don't want this to descend into an argument on here. There's different ways and means of putting in complaints. Okay, over to you, Pam.
You're on mute, Pam. Pam, you're on mute.
My point was that we need to work with Swansea City Council and every other agency that we can, because this isn't just a Mumbles thing, this isn't just a skate park thing. It's being reported that things like this are escalating all over Swansea. So we need to work with people in as wide a forum as we can to help them with the work that they're doing throughout the Swansea area, not just Swansea. To show that we are all working together as one big team, and it's not just a localized thing. My granddaughter is at Nottingham University, and even she contacted me to say, do you know about this? Because it's through the universities as well. So we need to work with people far and wide who are experts in this field, and we need to take their advice on how they can come down and help everybody else as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam. Sarah, come in.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused. I haven't been down the skate park for a while. For Ian saying about the kind of offensive stuff, is that right-wing fascist stuff being done or put all over the skate park? Because that is a real concern if that's happening.
Thanks, Sarah. I don't think anyone, I don't really want to go into what's written on the escape plan. I don't see that as, no, I know. Let's leave that. I don't think this is constructive. Okay, so I'm just going to move on to the next part of the agenda. If we go into the Chief Officer's report, please.
Thanks, all. And you'll be pleased to know tonight I am booking my trend a little bit, and I am going to give you a bit of a report from myself. So if you can please just bear with me for a couple of moments of your time. So there's a couple of things I wanted to address. And first of all, the first thing I wanted to address is that recently there has been increasing public discussion about the work of Mumbles Community Council, its staffing structure, and the growing range of services and projects delivered across the community. Public interest and engagement in local government are both important and welcome, and I feel it would be helpful to provide some context on how the council operates, my role in itself, and the work actually being undertaken by the council. So the Chief Officer, i.e. myself, is the council senior employee and proper officer of the council, appointed under the Local Government Act 1972. And whilst councillors of the council are responsible for making decisions and setting the responsibilities and representing residents, they are elected. I am not elected, as I've just alluded to, I'm appointed, and I'm responsible for implementing the decisions that are made by council, advising on governance and legislation, managing operations and staff, and ensuring the council functions effectively and lawful. I also work alongside the councillors to help deliver the council's ambitions and objectives for the benefit of the community. Like many community councils across Wales, MCC has evolved significantly over recent years, and whilst expectations placed upon local councils continue to grow, the community is increasingly looking to local councils to deliver services, events, environmental initiatives, wellbeing projects and community facilities. Since 2019, MCC has expanded in a huge way, and we now deliver a wide range of community-focused services and projects. As responsibilities have increased, so has the need for staffing capacity and specialist roles to support this work. The council now employs staff across operational, administrational and community-focused roles, including finance, customer service, events, environmental work, grounds maintenance, volunteer coordination and facilities management. These positions are approved by the elected members of the council through the budget setting process and its governance processes. One thing that is sometimes easy to overlook in public services is that behind every service, project and response are people who genuinely care about the community they serve. And I'm really proud to say that MCC staff work increasingly hard to support the residents, deliver events and services, maintain facilities, respond to queries, help bring forward projects and initiatives agreed by councillors. Many regularly go above and beyond their core responsibilities because they are passionate about making a positive difference in the community. Public discussion, challenge and scrutiny are all important and healthy parts of local democracy. Equally, it is important to note that conversations remain respectful and balanced, particularly when they move onto social media platforms where comments can sometimes become personal or speculative. Like many organisations, staff encounter public commentary, and at times this can understandably be difficult, particularly during periods of significant change, increased workload or organisational growth, and the council remains committed to supporting the staff wellbeing and continue to engage openly with transparency with residents. MCC values constructive engagement with the community and recognises that residents deeply care about the future of Mumbles and the local services being delivered. The council will continue to strive to ensure that conversations remain focused on facts, community outcomes and positive collaboration. And as the Chief Officer, I remain approachable, accessible, and residents are always welcome to contact me directly by email should they wish to have a positive and constructive conversation with me about council services, projects or operations. So that's the end of that little speech, I'd like to say. The next thing I just need to go on to is just some information for you with regards to delegated powers and some decisions that have been made during the pre-election period. So the following decisions that have been made, obviously using delegated powers during the pre-election period, are the approval of £500 from contingency to support Volunteers Week activities that take place during the first week of June. So this is an initiative that Sarah's been working on, and it's gaining a lot of interest and a lot of goodwill around the project. The next one is the approval of £500 to support the Green Mumbles Star Green Rating Initiative, recognising business operating with sustainable practices while promoting local businesses within Mumbles. The next one is approval of £600 for some professional photography of council facilities and green spaces, so we can actually get a real proper marketing portfolio put together. And also the commissioning of a new WCAG compliant council website at the cost of £2,098, and that's going to take about 12 weeks to deliver that. And there also, you'll be pleased to know, there'll be a new members area on there for you guys to access documents and log on to. And also there has been some operational expenditure in relation to Underhill and the hub, which are already in the council's approved budget. I'd like to finish on some positives, if that's okay. And the positives I'd like to bring forward are that recently Ash, our grounds person, was selected for a place on a course, which is a prestigious modern gardening course, and he's very lucky because they only take 16 people a year from the whole of the UK, and he was selected as one of those. So Ash is really excited about this to bring back the practices that he learns back into his work in Mumbles. Sarah has been invited to share MCC's volunteer programme across Swansea, and this is recognising the positive impact that the council's approach to volunteering and community engagement is having on the local council sector. And in addition, MCC has recently had 2 articles published within the Clerk magazine, which is a professional magazine of the local Society of Clerks, and it goes to 3,800 councils across Wales and England. So that's really good that Mumbles Community Council are getting recognised for their work with best practice and initiatives coming forward. And the last one is that I've been invited to present at a national conference, providing an opportunity to share one of MCC's projects with other councils across Wales and England. And these achievements reflect the dedication, creativity and professionalism of the councillors and staff, and demonstrate the positive direction in which the council continues to move. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for that, Kerry. It's great bit of background. I mean, I personally, I welcome the scrutiny from members of the public, and you know, because the council's got nothing to hide, and does a great job with what we do. I think it is a balance of you know, more when the budget goes up, you've obviously got more and more work, and you have to bring on more staff, but that is a balance between how much staff you bring on and how much you have to spend on projects, and whether it be events or capital projects. So you know, I think that is a balance. But what I will say is I think there's a really good team here now, and I'm not just saying that. I do really think it's a great team, and everyone seems like happy and enjoying their jobs as well, and that's really nice to see. I'm quite excited about where it goes. I think, you know, Underhill's like just going from strength to strength, and everything else is going the right way as well. So I think, you know, really excited about the team, and you know, that comes from you leading from the front. So I'd like to thank you for that, and all the staff. Rebecca, do you want to come in?
Yeah, I just, you know, thank you for the comments at the beginning of your report, Kerry. I've been really concerned by the framing of some of what I've seen on social media recently, because scrutiny is absolutely right. You know, we're a democratic organisation, but there's a difference between scrutiny and, frankly, deliberately misleading comments that are designed to stoke anger and frustration. And I think it's really unfair that is then levelled at the staff who are just doing the day job. So I'm lucky today that I get to actually look most of you in the eyes and tell you that you are valued, that since I have been elected, the energy, the impact of what Mumbles Community Council achieves has gone beyond what I could have thought it was going to be when I stood for election in 2019. And as councillors, we can only push things so far, and we, you know, that's only possible. I think we represent outstanding value for money. You know, if people are looking at what their precept covers, there is something delivered by this council for every single resident in the Mumbles area, for, you know, a really minimal outlay per person. And I just think that we could not deliver that without the staff. So, you know, put on record my thanks and my admiration for everything that you do.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Michael?
Yeah, certainly, Martin, do you want to come in?
Yeah, I'd just like to come in with something. Thank you very much for your report, Kerry, which was very comprehensive. I, like Will, welcome scrutiny of the council from the public, because we are public servants. We're all public servants, so we should welcome it. But at the same time, let us not put out of proportion stuff that is posted on social media. Individuals can quite easily post stuff on social media and it gets good coverage, but that doesn't mean that people agree with it. It is what it is. It's social media and it's a reality of the day-to-day life world that we live in these days. I think, echoing everything that's been said around here, I think we can all congratulate ourselves from where Mumbles Community Council is from where it was all those years ago. I think, from my time as chair, from my time as vice chair, I'm always heartened that people actually stop me in the street at times and stop me in the supermarket as well, and say that they value the work the Mumbles Community Council is doing. And I think somebody doing that, stopping somebody and saying that face to face, is a lot more valuable than somebody posting something on social media in the middle of the night when they're just by themselves. I really think the Mumbles Community Council is valued throughout Mumbles, but also Mumbles Community Council is building a reputation throughout Wales and I think elsewhere. And I think we should all congratulate ourselves, and we should congratulate our officers on this.
That's great. Thanks, Martin. Okay, there's no other comments. Moving on to item number 11, which is the financial report. Number 1. And A is to the payments made by the RFO in March 2026 are retrospectively approved. So you've got that in your pack on financial report 1. Just give you a moment to see if anything jumps out at you, like always, but she had it. So if there's no questions or comments on that, just move that to a vote. So all those in favour? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Just retrospectively approved bank transfers made between Mumbles Community Council's bank accounts for March 2026, which is at the end of the financial report there. Standard items, so no. I thought it was a question. First time anyone's ever asked a question. All those in favour? Thank you. Okay, so item number 12 then is the financial report 2. 20 pages. So the payments made to the RFO in April 2026 are retrospectively approved. So again, I'll give you a moment to just see if any figures jump out at you, but you've had it all in your packs. So there's no questions on any of that. Let's move that to a vote. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. And again, to retrospectively approve the bank transfers made between Mumbles Community Council bank accounts for April 2026. Lord, do you have any questions? Okay, all those in favour? Thank you. Right. Item 13. Wellfest. I will hand over to Kerry to give us a bit of background here, and then we will receive a presentation. So looking forward to that from all of you, it says. So yeah, Kerry.
Yeah. Thanks, Will. So just wanted to give a bit of background on how Wellfest has come about and where it's come from. The staff had been speaking about doing some sort of event between them and approached me and said, have we, we want to do an event. So obviously really refreshing for me to see the staff coming forward with positive ideas that will impact the local community in a fantastic way. So asked them to give me a proposal, which I said I would bring forward to council. This is by no way or means to replicate, replace or undermine Mumbles Fest or how amazing that festival is. It is purely just to complement and to obviously deliver something for our residents this year. So that being said, there is an overarching report from myself in the pack, which I hope you've all had time to read. And I'm just going to say I'm really pleased that the team have come up with this idea, and I'm really looking forward to seeing their presentation from you this evening. So I would really like to ask that you do listen to what they've got to say this evening, and I'm sure there'll be the opportunity for you to ask your questions at the end. Thank you.
This is not formal presentation, it's just chat. So we would like to propose a wellness and sustainability festival. So we're going to try and combine the two, and it's going to be called, we hope if it goes ahead, Mumbles Wellfest, which probably sounds familiar. So it's going to be building on the Mumbles Fest brand, which, as we know, has been hugely successful. We are proposing the dates of the 25th to the 27th of September, so it'll be over a full weekend. At the moment, we're thinking on Friday, we would be starting with maybe like a sound bath, sound healing, easing in, and then a full day of activities all day Saturday, all day Sunday. And we would like to focus on physical well-being, mental well-being, and then obviously the sustainability factor. So it kind of covers all bases of wellness and holistic living. And also, not in this, but if we cast our minds back to COVID times and lockdown, and I think everyone would agree that it was really difficult, it really highlighted mental health and connecting with your neighbours, and the need, I think, for people to reach out to things more like yoga, meditation, wellness retreats, that kind of thing. And I feel that since then, and quite some time has passed, that it's really gathered momentum, and I think there's a real need for it still. And actually, if you think about all the, another random idea, but all the coffee shops that are popping up in Mumbles, I personally think that people are buying less stuff and spending more time on things that they think will benefit their mental health and their happiness, which is meeting a friend for a coffee in a coffee shop. And that's where people want to spend their money, I think. So with that in mind, the fact that there's a need, and the fact that there are all of these retreats and things popping up that are selling out, I mean, they're hugely popular. I'm sure everyone can remember that. And actually in our hall, we've got things like ecstatic dance selling out within a couple of days. We've got yoga classes, we've got Pilates classes, we've got all these things popping up. So there's definitely a need, absolutely. So we would like people to donate their time for a good cause. And I think it's going to work. So, because we've already reached out to a few people just testing the water. So we would like to, we're hoping this is going to be an annual event, and I think it's going to be hugely successful, and that's going to happen. This year we propose giving all of the money to Women's Aid, which is a fantastic charity. In the following years, as I said, hopefully it will be an annual event, and then we would ask the chair actually to suggest where we could potentially split donations or a specific charity for future events. I think the marketing for this has huge potential. So I've got loads of contacts in this industry. I think all of us as officers have been having lots of amazing flowing chats, and we've got lists and lists of people that can come in and do talks on nutrition, men's health, women's health. We've got people that can do sound baths, we can yoga classes, you know, so it's going to be the movement, but it's also going to be the mind as well for mental well-being, and then the huge green aspect, which Mary might be able to give more of an insight on once I've sort of been through everything else. What else? We would like to cover all 4 wards. So we would like to use the Off-Stream Centre, we would like to use Underhill Hub probably for the bulk of the talks in the hub itself. So we would have pretty much continuous talks. We'd have nutritious food, smoothies and that kind of thing. And actually, even if there's sports activities, that can kind of
go on at the same time pretty much. We'd like to use the outside space. September, of course, there's no guarantee with the weather, but weather dependent, we can have exercise classes and things there as well. We'd like to use West Cross Community Centre, and then our green spaces as well. So we'd like to also include things like go into the nature reserve. We could have a drum circle over there. We could have educational classes, children's classes, a beach art, maybe a swim, and maybe forest bathing. I mean, there's all sorts of different options. And what else? We're not covered. Budget would be good. So yeah, so at the moment everybody seems to be pretty much on board with donating their time for a grant, because not only that, they're obviously going to get huge exposure through through hopefully retaining the people that attend the events, and also our marketing. The marketing I'm really excited about. I think it's going to be huge, because these people that we've been approaching already have a huge following on social media. So we'll be doing cross marketing. So I think we can tap into a completely new audience, which would be fantastic for us, you know. That you want to think.
Sorry to jump in. I'm not sure if you finished. Rebecca's got to go, and she did want to ask a quick question, but should she ask that, and then you can.
Absolutely.
So sorry, Jen. No, you're fine. I just wanted to make the suggestion of the focus on food, because there's quite a lot going on across the Mumbles area around food sustainability, reducing waste, but then also healthy, affordable, accessible options. And I think we could really tap into that as well.
Absolutely.
That was the only point I was going to make.
That's
really hugely supportive.
So one thing we were thinking about, I mean, shared plate, but there's probably other initiatives as well, for somebody to come in and do a cook along, perhaps in West Cross. That's a really good shout. And actually, we can also tie in the Crop Collective as well. Some of the food from there. Sorry, one massive thing as well is that on the Saturday, we'd like to have a holistic market in the hall. So we would have, actually one of my design clients is Gower Lavender, and all of her products are eco-friendly packaging. And again, organic food, well-being products. And then we would have a lot of green tables. So we'd have a lot of green educational, stuff as well, right? So yeah, it seems just a really positive event. It's connecting public with, with health and well-being initiatives. It boosts business. I think it's going to get us more recognition through a huge amount of marketing, with actually probably minimal effort with all the cross marketing that's going to be going on. And of course, the whole event, we're going to, zero plastics, and obviously it's going to be, with that in mind. I think I've pretty much covered it other than the budget. So let's move on to that, because that's an important one. Mm-hmm. So I know just before I started, I saw the post that went out about Mumbles Fest, obviously, unfortunately, having to be cancelled this year. It's huge, and obviously the locals were disappointed naturally. Next year it's going to be phenomenal. I have huge confidence in that. But this year we wondered about the budget for that, which I think was 35-ish thousand. If we could take 15,000 for this out of the budget that wasn't used for Mumbles Fest this year, then that should be, and that also includes a contingency as well. That includes the venue hire, that includes any branding and promotion. We'll also be doing advertising on Facebook. We'd also like to do some, it probably doesn't seem important, but some tote bags, a natural tote bag, which actually, if people are volunteering their time, each company could then have a logo on the back of the bag, and it also gets the name around the village and stuff.
Go ahead. The other thing is, with all the brand and everything, we want it to fall under the Mumbles Fest brand, and everything that we create within the marketing will be, for example, flags and stuff like that, which will be outside all the venues, across all the walls, and they'll be reusable every year. So a big chunk of that isn't just for this one event, it will be continued to use over the lifespan of the festival, really.
And then the only other thing that I'd add is we are really, really keen to use local practitioners, local instructors. It would be within, as far as we can, within the Mumbles ward. So it'd be supporting local businesses and in turn, giving all our local community an amazing opportunity to try things that they ordinarily wouldn't in a really good 3-day amazing event that Kat's been put on.
Yeah. I was going to just point out that we are aware that the triathlon is on that weekend. We don't see it as a negative. We think that there's going to be such a huge footfall coming to Mumbles. That's not always everybody's cup of tea. It could be quite high energy. And for people that actually want to just decompress and do something really peaceful for themselves and give themselves some self-love, I think this will be a really great alternative to do at the same time. Yeah.
Okay, thanks very much. Richard, do you want to comment on this, Pam?
We're going to do the half marathon after they finish that.
Yeah,
Do some,
absolutely.
do some stretching.
Okay,
Good shout. Yeah, thank you.
so you have finished, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Pam, do you want to come in?
I'm just sitting here feeling astounded at everything you've just put together. Anything we can do, just tell us what to do. And I think it sounds phenomenal. So thank you so much for everything you've thought about. And thank you so much for putting this together. It's just astounding. Thank you so much.
So this is a team effort. I'm obviously events. Hannah's been working really closely with me, Marie and Marie and Sarah. So this is the team, the core team that's going to be putting everything together. So thank you for being so positive.
Well, over to you.
I'm astounded as well. I mean, you know, this is not something which would have probably come through the committee because we wouldn't have thought of something as fantastic as this. And you know, I commend you all for that. I think, you know, the hard work and what you put into this. I have a couple of reservations and things I need to point out. I mean, the first thing is I don't think as MCC we're allowed to support a charity because it's we're not allowed to favour a particular charity. That's what I've been told before when we wanted to put on a charity event up at the castle for a friend of mine with breast cancer. So that's the first thing we need to think about.
How do I go about?
Let's come on to that at the end. The hub isn't suitable for old people because they can't walk there, and they can't park near. And so, you know, if you're doing stuff which is aimed at older people, it needs to be somewhere where they can park or has good bus route for them to go. Venues are rent free because we own them.
Not all of them. Sorry, are we answering these as we go along?
Just things I'm raising.
Yeah, no, yeah. So we're using more than one venue, so we're not using the hub, we're using the Offstream, we're using West Coast Community, we want to use Vivian Hall, we want to bring in many different establishments, so it's literally all over the board.
Right.
Some of them will be paid for, some of them won't be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of events are going to be going on.
And then we will put each demographic in the area that we think is most suited for them.
There we are, brilliant. And the last thing really was, the Mumfest budget was agreed at the last meeting to be viable for next year so we could have a bigger, better festival. Because you look at the price of, say, if you want a well-known 80s band or something like that, the cost of something like that is a lot more than people would think. I'm wondering, first of all, if there's any other options of where the money can come from, rather, because as you know, we've been talking about this 2-day event next year. We'd also agreed to give some money towards the folk festival from the Violet budget. And I think 15 grand is too much. I think it can be done cheaper.
Okay, we'll collate all these things at the end.
Well, fantastic idea, brilliant, and I wanted to have that.
Okay, I think Kerry, if you're about to come in and tell us some information about the charity that Rob just mentioned then.
Yeah, just wondering when that was. You're on mute.
Sorry, Kerry, it was something I was told not long after becoming a councillor that we weren't allowed to favour a particular charity. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what we've always been told.
Okay. I'm not aware of that, and I've worked in obviously alongside other councils before, and a lot of councils across Wales do, town councils specifically. The mayor will have a charity that they will do an event for, that they will fundraise money for, and then the mayor will give that money to charity. So I'm not aware of any reason why the council can't. You just have to ensure that the way the money is spent to put that event on is legally done.
It's muted then. Yeah. Sarah, over to you.
Yeah, I think there's been some confusion there. That was if we were giving our funds to a charity, because after all, that could be contentious. But if we're asking people to give to a set charity, if they want to, it's quite voluntary. I don't think there'd be a problem with that. I just think this is great because I think you've all probably read the research, because there's been a few different research things that have come out over the last year saying about how social isolation kills more people than obesity, smoking, drinking. And we're doing a great job of reaching out to more people, but there's always people that we don't reach out to. And I think Sarah and the team have actually managed to pick something else up that could be a big pull for people we don't reach out to yet, and encourage people to try something they haven't, which might help their mental health. So I think it's great. I think we really need to put some effort behind it and do it. It's great. Thank you for the innovation.
Great. I don't see any more hands. So firstly, I think it's a good thing that it clashes with the triathlon, because one thing with Mumbles Fest is, as I've always thought, that the Mumbles Community Council taxpayer is subsidising that event, paying for that event, yet people from across Swansea, which is great, are benefiting. They can all come, but sometimes you have to turn people away when it's too busy. We're turning away people who are probably paying to put it on through their taxes for other people who are coming. Don't get me wrong, they do pay to get in. So when they can't get here, it's only going to be the people that subsidise the event that can come to it, so that solves that problem. So I'm happy with that. Yeah, exactly. I think it's great for and also it's good for local business as well. It's because if we can, these people given their time for free, but it is an advert for them, and they're going to be getting repeat business ongoing from that. So I think it's not only is it a good well-being event, it's also a really good way of showcasing local businesses for people to try new things, and like long term, it's not just a one-off weekend, is it? It's to establish people in the.
I think so. To
Yeah.
go to people.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken to Rob a few times. I mean, we don't particularly always agree on Mumbles Fest budget. Always do we? But not always. But yeah, so it's not so much my issue. But one thing I will say is, I'm just looking at the financials here, and it's got an estimated budget 15,000, and I'm not sure how that figure's been arrived at, because I'm looking at sport venue hire. I'm totting that up in my head. Then I'm looking at banners and posters and things. I'm totting that up in my head, right? And then I'm looking at all the other things that come with it, and I'm struggling to get anywhere near that figure. So I'm wondering if there's any more details that you could give us.
I mean, something like tote bags. There's no point in getting cheap tote. And we're not going to go for designer bags, but we want something half decent, because we want people to keep using them and then keep promoting us around the area. So that's one thing.
Yeah, I mean, from my own, this is purely my opinion. I think like when money's tight and things like that, tote bags are nice to have, and if we could get a sponsor to pay for them, that would be something that I think would be something that would be my first choice, I guess. But still, I'm struggling to see how we've arrived at this cost, and it doesn't seem to really break down figures. Kerry, do you want to come in?
Chair, can I come in there if that's okay? Yeah, no. Yeah, okay. So just to say, obviously, the staff have got a figure that they want, and I told them to ask for a little bit more because you will always get your budget knocked down. So what you don't want to do is be having a budget that you're trying to deliver an event in, and then you start seeing that you're going to have to start cutting things because you can't put them on. Also, as well, I think we need to factor in that yes, while practitioners are given their time free, there may be some infrastructure that we need to put in for the outdoor events platform so people can be seen for the classes and different things like that. So it's just to make sure that there's enough in there. Obviously, I don't envisage it being £15,000, but we've got to start somewhere with negotiating budgets.
Fair enough.
Phil's got his hand up as well.
Yeah.
Phil, do you want to come in?
Yeah, just to clarify, I think this is an amazing idea, by the way, and a great use of staff talent, bringing this together as well, as both as an idea, and I have every faith that you'll be able to do it as well. I just wanted to clarify, we're talking about events and opportunities free to those who sign up, with donations to the charity in lieu of payment, or suggested amounts. I mean, obviously, we wouldn't want to see people who are keen to enjoy something not being able to afford to do so. But that's just simply a sort of a question that I just wanted to ask.
Pat, do you want me to come in there?
I was going to say something. Do you mind if I say something and then do you want to?
No, that's fine.
I was just going to say that it's basically going to be a pay what you can afford, and if that means you can't afford something, then you don't pay for it. We were also going to have a raffle, and then we were going to put sort of products from the holistic market into like a tote bag if we have them, and that's going to be sort of the thing that you kind of win, and then all proceeds from the raffle would also go to the charity.
Okay, that sounds good. Sarah, do you want to come in?
Yeah, the only concern with pay what you can afford is you usually find the people who can afford the least tend to pay the most because they feel they should. And that's always a concern with that. That would be my one concern. And they won't come. They'll think, oh, well, I don't know, I'd have to pay something and I can't afford it, so I won't go. And that would be really sad. That's my only concern. Thanks.
Okay, I mean, maybe Kat, you could take that away and have a think about that. Maybe it's one free thing for everyone, and then maybe pay as you go for other things or something like. Obviously,
or maybe a suggested donation of X. I don't.
Yeah, or after, at no pressure after the event, just bring Rob in and then
just as a thought, I mean, would it be an option to charge a token entry for something like that? That's one question. And the other thing was, I've been at events at Branwen where you've had like a bag, given you a tote bag full of Dr. Organics and stuff like that because they've sponsored the actual event.
Yeah.
So maybe that would be
I love the idea of a sponsor.
something to do. And also, thank you for such a professional presentation.
Oh my
It really was excellent.
It was completely off the cuff.
Okay, good. Okay, so right, I think.
And we'd be behind the culture team as well.
Yeah. So I don't know what people's thoughts are here on the budget. I think I'm not picking on this because we often do budgets and pick numbers and try and work to them. So I'm not saying that we should do that any differently. And I'm sure that no money will be spent well and it'll be approved internally. I can see your hand, Kerry. Give me a minute. So that's not my concern. Isn't what the money's spent on at all. It's whether we need that amount of money to hire venues, buy some flags, and organise the facility. Because mainly it seems to be staff time that seems to be the real cost here. So Kerry, do you want to come in? I can see you waving.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to make a suggestion that why don't you agree an amount of up to say 10,000 with a caveat on it that the whatever is not spent is returned to the original budget it came from.
Well, why not the 15? Keep it at 15 with the same caveat and it can all go back.
Because we anticipated getting knocked down anyway from 15. So.
Well, I'd rather you plan it properly and with the caveat that what you don't spend goes straight back in, and we trust you to do it properly. You will have to give an accounts anyway, so you will be accountable for everything that you spend. I would go for the 15.
All right, we could, Ian wanted to just come in and then we'll move forward.
Yes, if I can ask the team of you, how detrimental do you feel a charge would be to the event? For those attending.
You can, yeah, I would love to say to you. You know the one. It was just a good thing. I mean, yeah, I traveled for 7 years all over the world. I ran a healing center in Peru for 2 years, and I did this all the time. And I would say that personally, and in actual fact, as like energy work and massages and things like that, it's believed that if you don't charge something, sometimes people just don't think it's worth it. So that's an interesting. Yeah. So even if it's, you know, £5 or £10 the whole weekend, you're right. That might be that. At the moment, I think we're just bouncing ideas off each other, but that's a valid point to bring up, that maybe free isn't the way to go.
Yeah, I would add, in the absence of a sponsor, you know, I think you ought to look at it anyway.
Absolutely.
Great idea. I think it would be very successful. But,
people pay a lot of money for retreats. I mean, you know, I know it's not a retreat as such, but for something like this industry, people will pay literally thousands for like a yoga retreat. Yeah. So if you're asking a £5 or a £10, I mean, it's nothing.
That's a Charlotte Churchstone.
Let's keep this on track now. Hannah, you wanted to come in about the price point?
Yeah, I feel quite strongly, and we have actually gone back and forth on this. I think we already, as local people, have paid for this event, and I get a little frustrated if I've got to pay for something twice. The reason that we're asking for the budget is because we're not a business. We're putting forward something for the community, and the only reason why we would ever put in my opinion, a price on it is to ensure that people turn up. So I worry that once you start putting £5 on this, £10 on this, or whatever, as Sarah and Phil said, you're then blocking certain people out. So my personal opinion is it should be a free event, or we thought, because there's a lot of people who can afford to put a little bit of something. That's why we brought the charity element into it, was because then I would give £5 if I thought it was a good event, and then it's going to something good. We don't need to make money from this event. We just need to put on a really good event.
Okay, I think I'll bring you in now, Sarah, but I think the decision on what you charge is, you know, I think the council seems to be happy with you guys making that decision, as long as everyone's had a chance to input their opinions, which they have. Sarah, do you want to just come in quickly, please?
Yeah, quickly. These are businesses and they do charge. And I think if we're going to do this as a community council, the only way we can justify giving any money at all is if it is for free and perhaps a donation to charity. After all, these businesses will have publicity. Someone could go down and say, I cannot live without having, I don't know, gongs played at me or massaged or something. And they will find the money perhaps out of their money to pay each month to do it. But to actually charge to start with, I think is a no-no. We're a community council, we've already taken that tax off people. I mean, as Hannah said it quite succinctly, I wouldn't want to support something where we were doubly charging people for this stuff, because it'll be the same people that do this stuff who will come out then and do it, who will say, oh yes, I like that person, I've been there, and they're doing it for, you know, they're charging a £5 or something, I'll do it. No, it's better it's free if it's a community council. Thanks.
Yeah, just very quickly.
Very quickly. I mean, you know, I understand the thing about the double taxation, but when Swansea City Council, who we pay our council tax to put on events like Tunes in the Bay or Party in the Park or anything like that, we have to pay to go and see that, you know, and, you know, there's a difference between 20, 40 pound a ticket for something to say a token of £5 a ticket. You know, I think it's been said before that if you don't charge, people might assume it's rubbish. So I think, you know, having that £5, which I would say the majority of people can afford £5, to go and see something like that. You know, this isn't Muggers Fest where it's a good drinking day as well. This is the people who this is going to attract. A lot of people are going to go there for a jolly as such. They're going to be going there because it's something that really interests them.
Okay, look, I can see I have mentioned this, that this, as long as everyone has the ability to talk about their opinions on this, then that'll be made by the staff making the decision. If people really want to go down this route and get into the detail here, we can, but I don't think it's constructive, and I think we've covered all the ground, so I think we're just going to be repeating ourselves. So Martin, have you got any other points?
No, I was just going to say, I'm just echoing what Rob sort of says, that we charge for Mumbles Fest. I do get the thing that we don't make money on Mumbles Fest. You know, it is done as a service, but we do charge entry into it. So, you know, and I do take on the argument as well, because I have seen this in operation as well, is that if you don't charge anything, people don't value it then. Like, so anyway,
I can see,
but as I sort of said, I think echoing what Will says, I think this is really a decision for you.
Yeah, I think I can see two hands up. Sorry, I've spoken 3 times on this. If it's I know Pam, have you got anything to?
Sorry, Chair, if you're charging £5 per person, if a family wants to come, that's £20, and I think that would lock a lot of people out of this day. If it's £20 a family, they wouldn't be able to get through the door. So just put that in the mix when you're thinking about it. Thank you.
So, did you want to come in, or was it related to
just very quickly to say, I think it's a decision we need to make as councillors, not leave it to the staff.
Just wanted to say, with regards to things like Tunes on the Bay, and they're sort of like private companies, aren't they? Like things like that. And we do get the air show free, which is a massive event. So if we promote this as, you know, especially in September when, you know, summer's over and all the rest of it, and it's a taster, we've got some really high-end practitioners that, you know, maybe like, I probably wouldn't pay £50 a month or something to join, then just have a taster to see what it's like for free as a weekend would be brilliant.
Yeah, great. So I'm going to propose that we leave this decision to the staff. If anyone does want to come in with a different proposal, speak now, because I think, although I understand what you're saying, Sarah, I think the staff are perfectly capable of making the decision and moving forward. Kerry recommended that we look at a 10% environment, 10%, sorry, £10,000 environment instead of 15,000, which I think from doing the numbers in my head, that seems more than enough personally. But I think if you don't think that's enough, you have, you know, come back now and speak up now. Really, I think do you think that's enough to facilitate the event, or?
No, I think if you go away and do some costings.
Well, no, we'd have to go another month now. So you know, if I propose now that we put 10,000 in, for example, and if you don't think that's enough, then we'd have to discuss that in more detail.
So I forgot to say that this year this is a taster, so this is testing it out and then figuring out what works, what doesn't work, and then it becoming an annual event. I'm confident that we can do it within 10 grand. I think that's
well, that's what I wanted to hear. That's what I wanted to hear.
And then any underspend comes back to.
Yeah. So that would be the case in truth. Sarah, we're trying to move forward here. So
I know, I do apologise. It's just something I feel strongly about. I can't vote on it if I'm voting for 10,000 or 15,000 to go for something that then is also going to be charged for. I'd have to abstain because I think we should make that decision. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. I mean, you're well within your rights to propose that we change that now if you did want to, but I don't see you doing that. So we're going to move forward to a vote then. So receive the record of proposal from Mumbles Wellfest 2026. Do I have to take a vote on that first one, Kerry? Yeah, so basically to receive the report, all those in favour? Thank you. To recognise the works undertaken by the officers developing the new community-focused event proposal aligned with the council's wellbeing and sustainability objectives. So I have to take a vote on that one, yeah? All those in favour? Consider whether it wishes to support and deliver the event in September 2026. I don't really see how we could take a vote on that. But yes, it seems like we do. So all those in favour in the event? All those in favour, yeah. Okay. Okay, so this is where we'd add an amendment. If supportive, approval by amendment of, and then if we change the 15 to 10 from the existing Mumbles Fest budget provision to support the delivery of Mumbles Wellfest 2026. Whilst noting the committee's aspiration to further review and develop the future project in 2027, I'd just like to add another caveat into that, though, that any money underspent would go back to the original pot which it was in. Contingency. Well, it was in the yeah. So all those in favour of those two amendments to that? Thank you. Any abstentions? I think, oh, she can't hear me. Members are also asked to recognise the positive work and enthusiasm shown by officers in bringing forward new ideas and opportunities for the community. The proposal reflects the collaboration approach across the teams and demonstrates the passion staff have to develop engaging and meaningful community initiatives. All those in favour?
Two hands for that.
Yeah.
So that's good luck.
No, well done. It looks really good, and I'm quite excited about that. I think it'll be 6 minutes. Yeah. Okay. Where are we? 14. Thank you. Recommendations from Culture Tourism Committee. Over to you, Rob.
Okay, I've obviously only become chair since last week, so I have a manage. So the Culture and Tourism Committee discussed the future of Mumbles Fest and followed detailed consideration of a range of factors raised during it. It was agreed that the event would be postponed until next year. It was noted that Mumbles Fest has become a well-established and valued fixture in the residents' annual calendar, and this decision was not taken lightly. However, members highlighted that in the absence of a dedicated marketing and events officer at the time, got you now, there is currently insufficient staffing capacity to adequately plan and deliver an event of this scale this year. So the committee agreed that safeguarding the allocated budget remains the most responsible course of action in order to protect the long-term future of the festival and ensure the delivery of a stronger, high-quality two-day Mumbles Fest in June next year. It was further noted that this approach allows for the possibility of refreshed delivery and planning input, including our newly elected or incoming members, should this be applicable next year. It was also agreed that the proportion of the safeguarded funds would be allocated towards enhancing this year's Christmas events programme, with the aim of delivering an improved festival experience to the community and visitors alike, and also the Folk and Blues Festival as well.
Now to be known as Mumbles Folk Fest.
Mumbles Folk Fest. There we are.
Tie in with everything else.
Let's tie in with everything else. So that's all. Are there any? I don't think there are any recommendations, are there?
Yeah, there's recommendations here on the.
Oh, right. Hang on. Let me go back a page.
So I can read them out.
Yeah, you go. You go for it.
Number one, notes. Note that recommendations that we need to vote on these. So the notes, the cancellation of Mumbles Fest 2026. All those in favour, I suppose. Okay. Second recommendation is 7,000 to be provided from Mumbles Fest budget to support the delivery of the Christmas community event programme for 2026. All those in favour?
And there is an toy and toast event as well.
Yeah, I'm just going remaining Mumbles Fest budget allocation be ring fenced to support the redevelopment and enhancement of Mumble Fest 2027.
Chair, that needs amending because there's, as Rob's just said, there's some funding they want to allocate to the jazz festival as well. Is it jazz and blues? I think folk. That's it.
Right. So amend this one, yeah. Can you amend? Can we amend?
Somebody can propose to amend it because it needs to include if you want to allocate to the folk festival.
Can I just confirm what we're talking about? Are we talking about the folk festival for this year, or are we talking about the folk festival for next year?
It's this year.
This year.
Right. So you're wiring money from the
Mumbles Fest.
From the Mumbles Fest from this year to the folk fest, yeah.
Yes.
And how much is that?
We don't know yet. We will do that.
I figure
Do you want to give us a number because it's pretty hard to?
I figure I've had today, just before I came, for my tea, 2,500.
Okay.
Up to,
Yeah.
with the underspend going back into the Mumbles Fest.
Okay, so Kerry, can I just confirm this? If we vote this through, all of the money apart from the 2.5K goes into Mumbles Fest 2027.
That's the recommendation from committee, which council then have to vote on as well.
Right. And what figures are we talking there? So we've just taken 10,000 out and we've taken 6,000. Let's just get our numbers right, guys. So we're not right. So
20,000.
Yeah, there's 33,000 from Mumbles Fest, and then there was another. So there's 33 left over, yeah, is that correct? And then we've taken 10 out for the Wellfest, and we've just taken 7 out for
Christmas.
Martin, quickly, 33 minus 17.
18.
13,500 left.
16 tomorrow.
About 33 minus 17. 16. So there's 16,000. So the next year's if Mumbles Fest next year was the same at 33 and you're adding another 16 to that, do you really, my question is, do you really need 16,000 more?
Yes.
To do Mumbles
No,
Fest?
that's where I need to come in, please.
So
a special event after over 2 days.
Okay, so can you sell this to me, because that's yeah, let's go for
Right. So first of all, everything's gone up. Marquees hire has gone up, staging has gone up, lighting has gone up, everything has gone up since the pandemic. Plus, so far we've been underpaying a lot of artists, getting them to do things for 50 quid.
But Pam, can you move the mic, please?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. All right.
I was a bit
Carry on.
shivery and cold, sorry.
We've been underpaying a lot of artists for the odd 50 quid token here and there. And when we had the meeting, Rich backed me up on this, he was there, I think. Oh no, you weren't, you were away, weren't you? About having a really well-known band which is going to bring a lot of people there. The idea is to start trying to make some more money on Mumbles Fest.
Right. Pam, you wanted to come in? Do you want to come in?
Firstly, are we organising the blues and folk festival, or is somebody else organising it and we are helping them with it? Are we organising it?
I've got a guy by the name of James Rees, who organises the Pontardawe Folk Festival, and he's organising it for us. Because when we started doing it, we didn't have new staff on, so we had to get on and start booking things.
If he's organising for us, have we got any kind of a budget from him? Do we know what we're paying for?
Got it. A spreadsheet was sent to it tonight, and it's £2,500 all told. That's over 3 days.
Okay, well, not having seen that, if I've missed it, I'm sorry. The second point is, if there's any money left over, it goes into contingency. And if Rob is talking about all of these increased prices and increased costs and this, then he has to itemize those increased costs and put it forward into his budget proposal for next year. You can't just say, oh, it might cost us a bit more this year. Can we have all that money back, please? It's too woolly. It's not being itemized, so we don't know what we're putting aside. We don't know what we're paying for. So the money over should go into contingency in case it's needed there. And then for all those increased prices, which is fair enough for hire of whatever, he puts in a proper financial report to us next year, and that goes into budget as an upgraded one for next year, not just, oh, we'll hold this back because it might be, we don't even know how much more it's going to cost, but it might be, I don't know. It's just too woolly. We need a bit more specifics on this, please. So I think it should go into contingency.
I think you misunderstood what I was saying a little bit there. When we decided that we wouldn't be able to hold Mumfest this year because, time and staff resources, the idea was to make a bigger, better Mumbles Fest the year after. And to do that, we need more money to do it.
I'm sorry, I didn't misunderstand anything. What I'm saying is if you want a bigger and better, then you put the figures into us and we will give you the money for a bigger and better, not just stash some money aside because you think that's what you might need. That's not how it works. I did understand it. I beg your pardon. I did understand it. But I think we need an itemised thing for next year, and we will go into it completely understanding that so many costs has gone up that if you're going to have a bigger and better, you will need a big amount of the budget to pay for it.
Do you want to come in on this?
I'll come in on this a little bit as well, right? So I've just run the numbers again, right? So if we're talking 33k in the budget, we've just given 10 to Wellfest, 7k to the Christmas, 2.5k to the Folk Fest potentially.
Yeah,
That's that leaves 16,000. Sorry, 13.5k. But if my numbers are right, I don't know. Kerry could just, do those on the side. So
It's 13.5, it's 13,500 left after you've fired all of those to other budgets.
Yeah, that's what I've got. So if the question is, obviously prices have gone up. I appreciate that for Mumbles Fest and things do happen, but putting the budget up for, and you're saying it's from a 1 day to a 2 day festival, but in my opinion, spending £33,000 on a one-off music event's a lot of money. Everyone loves it. It's great. I'll always vote for it. But £46,500 on a festival that the taxpayer pays for, that's, 50 grand goes a long way, right? Yeah. It's a play park. That's like a huge piece of equipment in a play park or like something. So
there's lots of things people the public can whinge about where money is spent with this council, but it's the way it is. Now, if you want Mumfest to just be some little jolly music day in the castle.
Is that what you think it is now though?
No.
Well, that's the sort of things people are sort of saying what is this, just, a 1 day music event. It could be so much, if with a bit of vision, it could be so much more than that. We've got the fabulous locations here. We're a tourist destination. Surely we should be doing things which not just for locals, but for tourists as well, to encourage them to come down to Swansea. And having a good Mumbles Fest, the best Mumbles Fest we can put on, is a reason for people to come down and stay in Mumbles.
So
we were supporting you, Rob. We were supporting you in that, but saying it's got to be done properly and itemised, not just a lump of money set aside to add on to something else. You were being supported and people did agree with you, but you have to follow the process that everybody else does and put a proper itemised sheet in with everything on it. If prices have gone up, that's great. But we're not decrying what you're doing. We're just saying there is a process and you have to do it the same as everybody else.
This was something which
I'll stop now. Sorry. Okay, I'll stop.
Yeah, next time. Thank you.
This was something which was actually we spoke to Kerry about as our chief officer, find out if we could do this, you know, because the fact is Mumfest isn't happening this year. So a way of making it better is to use that money towards an even bigger and better festival. I can't give itemizations at the moment. And what I don't want to do is come to the budget next year and then we ask more people say, oh no, it's great as it is, and just keep what we've got. That's not the idea of it. Can we bring Kerry?
Yeah, Kerry, do you want to come in?
Yeah, so obviously when I'm just going to give a bit more context on this because obviously the council have agreed the budget for Mumbles Fest in its annual budget setting meeting. Unfortunately Mumbles Fest didn't go ahead, and council is well within its right now to, because you know that money has been precepted and your Mumbles Fest isn't going to go ahead, that you are well within your right to actually say, okay, we're ring fence that to go forward to Mumbles Fest for next year. Taken on board the comments that what Pam has said, you could caveat that on the basis that when we come to do budget setting, that it encompasses a fully comprehensive budget of all the increased prices, because for example we have the infrastructure in there, but we need if we're going to go to a 2-day event, we're going to need security there for you know, we have to put security on both of the days. We have to put security there overnight to look after the infrastructure. So that in itself is just is an increased cost. It's an aspiration of the committee to build the festival into something that does get, you know, can grow bigger as a brand, and obviously adding on Wellfest to it as well. And obviously it's a recommendation from the committee that this is what they would like to do and this is what they'd like to achieve. I was asked for my advice on whether council can agree to roll that money over into next year, and yes, council can, but it has to be a council decision on that process.
May I ask the chair, could we break it down into separate votes, please? I fully support everything you said, and it's absolutely lovely, but could you break it down into separate votes, because I cannot support justifying this money as a lump sum and ring fencing it, but everything else would be absolutely great. Could you break the votes down, please?
Thanks. I mean, what I'm trying to get an idea of is obviously with the added 2 days, what is it that would cost 13,500? You've got security, right, which has got to be overnight, and you've got security the next day, staff the next day, all that sort of stuff. Is that really going to cost 13,500?
If you're doing it over 2 days, you're going to have more acts to pay for.
And you think it's 13,500 is an amount that you'd have to?
Quite possibly, because that's not just for the security, for the access for security tends to be no longer, you know,
no.
Yeah. You know, we tried it over 3 days once, which was too long, okay, or 2.5 days. Now it's working as an event. We're trying to make it a bigger and better event. That's all. And to do that, we need more money. Simple as that. And it's not that we're sort of taking it from somewhere else. It's from the budget which is already there. It's just not being spent.
Okay, if it was to go up to 40,000, that's an extra, what is it, £6,000-7,000, right?
Mm.
If I was one of the, well, I am, but if I was a local taxpayer looking at an event at the park, and I think there's a ceiling, I'm going to propose that we try and operate under 40,000.
I prefer us to keep to the original thing.
The 46,000.
Yeah, 6,000 more.
It's not 6,000 more. It's £13,500 more.
So 46,000 from 33.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 6,000 more than what you're suggesting is what I'm saying.
Gary, are you trying to come in?
Yeah, just sorry, I was just having a quick look on what we paid last year for security just for the 1-day event, and the security cost last year was 5,500 just for the 1-day event. So that's just to give you an idea of the increased cost if council agree that they want to do a 2-day event.
Do you have the price of the acts on you at all to hand?
I do. Yeah. Bear with me.
And there's obviously overnight security. That would be some
So the cost payments to ACTS varied between, bear with me. Sorry, just checking, I've got everything, bear with me. Varied between 475 to 150.
75 to 150, so average, say, £300.
Well, hang on, our headline cost us more than that. That cost us 900 quid.
I can't see them in my list. Bear with me. I don't want to. Let me just have a look.
We had the events company as well, who were hosting. There's hosting as well. There's a lot.
I think it just need to get more of an idea of a breakdown of how, you know, like if I was a member of the public watching this video, passing an extra 13,500 for a second day sounds a lot, but obviously. Okay, Laura, do you want to come in?
Yeah, so I love Mumbles Fest. I just have a couple of things. Like one about making it bigger and better. Obviously, we're limited by space, and so obviously you touched on it earlier. You run the risk of having to turn people away if it is that much bigger. But that's kind of not the point I'm making here. The main point I wanted to make was, wouldn't it be better to now say, right, okay, put that back into Mumbles Fest, and then next year debate the Mumbles Fest budget, the budget setting meeting, rather than automatically saying, right, they're going to have another 33 grand next year, rather than debating it now, the nitty gritty, say, yeah, okay, fine, the leftovers can go back into the Mumbles Fest budget, and then at the next budget setting meeting, wouldn't that be a better place to debate the new budget for next year with like proper figures? You know, just a suggestion.
So
around with this now.
So ring fence is the money you mean, but then you still get the scrutiny of seeing what.
Right, so you're not automatically going to get 33 grand on top of the 16, but say, right, you have the 16 back, and then we'll reassess what extra you need next year at budget setting.
Okay, can I just get some clarification, Kerry? If we went down that route, which sounds like a good idea, pushing it off to another meeting as well. If we were to do that and we ring fence the money, does that mean that we can't change that again in budget setting, or is that ring fenced for the next event?
So we normally agree budget with January. So that if you agree to ring fence it tonight, you've got what's called the 6-month rule. When you get to 6 months, a decision can be remade again.
Okay, Sarah, do you want to come in and then we'll decide a way forward then?
Yeah, it's a side question, Chair, really, because look, I'm looking at the weather now and I'm just thinking, how much back do we get via insurance if it gets rained off? Because if we're doing 2 days, that's a lot of money lost unless we get it insured. And I don't know how much we get back.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I run an event company. We never take out insurance. It's too expensive for weather, so it's not. It just big fat zero is the answer to that one, I think.
That's depressing.
Yeah. Okay. So, is there any way that we can keep it in the budget, but you could ring fence for now? That it's just sort of tentatively in there.
Well, it's in the budget. You've agreed it in the budget for Mumbles Fest anyway. You've just agreed via mints from it, so that balance will remain in the Mumbles Fest heading until council either decide they're going to do something with it at the end of the year. We're not going to spend out of it during this year, so you're perfectly fine to leave it where it is. It's just when we get to the end of the financial year or budget setting, you will need to make a decision on what you do with that surplus money.
I think that's the way forward. So basically the money's still there, it's still marked. You come back with the detailed figures. Make a payment. Thanks, Laura, for that. That was a good way forward. So just to confirm then, have we voted on the viament of the folk festival? We haven't, have we? No, we haven't. So this would be an amendment here. So remaining Mumbles Fest, if I change this number 3 to remaining Mumbles Fest budget allocation, to be
of 13,500.
Yeah, to be left in the budget for 2027, and 2.5 thousand to be vied for folk festival. All those in favour? Any abstentions? And any against? Okay, thanks. Was someone record us on video anyway, isn't it? There we are. Okay, right. Note the intention to bring forward further proposals regarding the future development and delivery model of Mumbles Fest in due course. Could you, my brain's gone now.
No, mine.
Note the intention to bring forward further proposals regarding the future
No vote
development.
required, Chair. You're just noting that at some point during the near future, there will be a proposal come in about the development of Mumbles Fest.
Right, moving forward. How are we doing for time, by the way?
Tea and toast.
It's 8:30.
Okay, so could just
Tea and toast. Where? It's on one of the recommendations.
It's on the culture recommendation.
I haven't got it. What's online?
Committee recommendations list, it's come separately from my report.
Got a different list. Okay. Recommendation to provide entertainment for toddlers and parents at tea and toast events with initial budget of 1.3. 1.3. Yeah, I will. I don't know why she's Rick Astley. You came through. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Tea and toast. So just where's that money coming from? Contingency, is it, Kerry?
Yes.
Okay, contingency. Okay, all those in favour? Okay, great. Just before we go on to item 15, can I just vote to suspend standing orders because we've gone over the 2 hours? I'll try and plough through this as quick as I can. Right, number 15. Basically, there's some opportunities for large funding from parts of Swansea Council. So I've just been speaking to the leader and the head of external funding about that. I've been nagging away, haven't I, Kerry, for a while, and I've got a meeting with them next week. So this would just be to say that Mumbles Community Council is interested in using that funding pot to, basically fund the Ostream. And let's all keep our fingers crossed. All those in favour? Thank you. Same again with some Underhill projects such as the pavilion and the return of Mumbles Rangers to Tier 3. It's just a different funding pot, same thing with Swansea Council using the Economic Growth Fund. Obviously, this is just expressions of interest with them. All those in favour? Thank you. Okay. If I could just vote for exclusions of the press and public, because we're moving into a... Oh, sorry. To consider Newton, number 17, consider Newton Athletics grant application. Laura, do you want to just leave the room? Where is I haven't got 17 in my.
No, it's not on here either.
Uh-oh. Kerry, could you get number 17 up on the screen, please, so that we can make a decision on it? If it's allowed to be shared, that is, this is a public meeting.
Yeah,
obviously.
but what I'll do, Chair, is I won't share it on screen. I'll just talk you through their application, if that's okay, if you just give me 1 sec.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. This is nothing. Been in Swansea Council for like 6 hours.
No.
Yeah.
We don't, I suppose. It's the hub.
Jake, can I make you aware that the sound is really awful? You're cutting in and out all of the time. He's just trying to understand the most of what you're saying, just to make you aware of that.
We were pictured then, so might be why. Might be picking up off someone else's microphone. So. you lot get paid for this.
Ouch.
Why is your
No need for
closed?
that. Don't use that. One meeting a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, Martin, one meeting a month, you told me.
Well, you were stupid enough to believe me.
Didn't tell you how long it was, did it?
So, Karen said the same.
Does anyone else have it in the pack at all? Newton Athletic application?
Sorry, I'm looking into the platform now. Sorry. Give me a sec.
Okay. Should the mic call waiting. Thanks.
Sorry, it's just loading. Bear with me. Okay, so Newton Athletic are requesting a grant of 1,500 to support the delivery of this year's Newton Festival on the 20th of June, an annual event that brings together children aged under 16 to under 13, their families and the wider community for a positive, inclusive day of sport and celebration. The festival provides a safe and engaging environment where young people can enjoy football, inflatables, music, food, family activities, helping to strengthen confidence, teamwork and community spirit. With the council's support, we can continue to deliver a high quality, memorable event that benefits local children, encourages community participation and brings families together. The event will be held obviously at Underhill Hub. They're expecting around 300 people. The total cost of the project is £3,000. They're requesting 1,500 from Mumbles. The other 1,500 is coming from other bodies. The festival provides a direct benefit to all families across Mumbles. And again, it just says about bringing together the wider community. Let me just have a look. I'm just looking to see, they've submitted constitution, they've submitted accounts, bank statements, obviously just look at them. Yep. Bear with me one sec. Obviously, I'm not going to disclose what's in the bank account. Just got to check that it falls within our requirements of what we need. Yeah, okay. So basically, they're requesting 1,500. They meet all the criteria that we specify in our grant applications, and obviously, it's just whether you're going to support the grant application.
Okay, thanks, Pam.
I'm sorry, what did you say it was called?
It's Newton Athletic. It's the football club. They put on a sort of festival every year.
Sorry, Joe. Don't we already give money to the Jimmy Crackers Children's Festival?
That's rugby. This is a football club, Pam.
So do Underhill, do Mumbles Rangers put on a similar kind of thing? Will we be asking to give money to those as well?
Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
So I think we should support one or t'other. I don't know.
Well, let's. I think we've got enough information to vote, Pam. If that's how you feel about the vote, we don't need to get into a deep debate unless everyone feels they need to.
Does anybody know how much we give Mumbles Rangers for their festival for the children?
It's not. That's not. Yeah, it's not on the agenda, and I don't think we should compare apples with oranges.
Well, it's football and it's football. That's not apples and oranges. It's not rugby and football. It's football and football.
What I mean is, no two events are the same. Is what my point was. It's just a very bad way of explaining it. Yeah. So we've got 50% funded grant application. They've asked for £1,500. They put on a very well organised event. The community supported very well. The hub take a lot of money over the bar there. And over with the food there as well. I'm going to move it to a vote. If there's no questions, all those in favour of supporting the grant application? Okay, any abstentions? Okay, thank you. Okay, that, I just, one more vote needed on camera, please. Exclusion of the press and public. This is because we're going to discuss the Honour of Mumbles, which is obviously the award. We hold once a year for up to 2 people in the Mumbles area, voluntary and other works. So obviously that can sometimes be private. So all those in favour of moving to right. Exclusion to the press. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, that's carried. Can we stop recording, please? Thank you. It is hard talking so much, I tell you.